So I got this unexpected package at my door this morning, and I opened it up, and inside was this. And man, I lost it. This is one of those shoes that I've been looking forward to for months, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to get it. Also, I'm not 100% sure if this is the standard retail packaging for this shoe, but I hope that it is, because this box is insane. What's up, everybody? I'm Seth Fowler, and today I've got an early review of the Bodega Nike Dunk High Legend. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and thank you all so much for tuning in today. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't yet, and also make sure to give me a follow on Instagram and on Twitter at RealSethFowler. Because if you had been following me on Instagram and on Twitter, you already would have gotten an early look at these shoes. Before we get into anything though, I just want to give a huge, heartfelt thank you to Bodega for sending this pair over early, and of course also Nike. This was a pair of shoes that I'd been looking forward to for months, and I just really did not think I was going to be able to get a pair, at least not for retail, and just out of nowhere Bodega and Nike surprised me with the pair, and I'm just really grateful for it. I can't believe it, so thank you guys so much. But if you're like me and you love this shoe and you want to grab one for yourself, they released first on Bodega's website on December 28th for a retail price of $120, and then they release again on the sneakers app on December 30th. But even though there are technically two releases for this shoe, there probably won't be a lot of pairs of these available, so if you're trying to grab one of these, make sure to stay on the ball and stay on top of those releases. I thought this shoe was necessary and a must cop before I even saw the shoe in person, and now that I have it in hand, and now that I've worn this shoe, I'm just even more in love with it. Bodega has just shown me so much love over the last couple months, and this is just like next level. I just can't believe I have this. But before we actually get into the shoe itself, I want to do a quick unboxing of the box that they sent over, just so you guys can see some of the goodies that were inside. Now, like I said, I have no idea if this is a special box or a standard retail version. I would expect that this might be a special box because it's got this special sleeve on the outside, but I'm honestly not sure. Speaking of this sleeve, the sleeve seems to come in sort of a light tan natural cardboard with a black and white printed pattern on top of it. The pattern seems to be in the style of a bandana, and then on the center of the box, I guess in the center of the bandana, you've got Bodega's logo, their Rose logo, Nike's logo, and then the dates that the two companies were founded. And then on either side of the sleeve, you've got the Nike and Bodega logo kind of combined in this really cool, I guess, new logo that I actually think looks great. So let's go ahead and remove the sleeve, and you'll notice that underneath the sleeve, you've got a pretty standard red Nike box. On the front of the box, you've got the size tag, and of course it's a size 9 because that's my true size. You've got the name of the sneaker, the Nike Dunk High Bodega. You've got the retail price, which is $120, and then finally you've got the official colorway of the shoe, which is fauna brown multicolor rustic. And I know that just the sleeve over top of the box already makes this box sort of special, but when you open up the box, you actually find some even cooler details. The first is this black and white Nike Bodega paper, which of course surrounds the shoes. Obviously, I've already taken out the shoes, but what you find underneath the shoes is actually really cool as well. So the first thing that you get inside the box is this note, which gives you a little bit of background on the sneaker itself. The note reads, "It starts with a passion from within. There are no directions, no roadmaps. You do it because you have to. Eventually, that unique skill draws you to others. You see them at the same shows, paint the same walls, or skate the same streets. Linked by attitudes, ideas, and aesthetics. This is how Bodega was born, created by a crew, built as a crew, held together by legends." And that makes sense as to why the shoe is officially called the Bodega Nike Dunk High Legends. Next up, inside the box, you've actually got some stickers, and I'll pull some of these guys out to show you. You've got this really cool Dunk Since '85 sticker with a tortoiseshell pattern underneath it. You've got the same sticker except in black and I guess a dull gold. And then you've got another one of those stickers except reversed, so you've got white on the outside and then the tortoiseshell on the inside. Next up is this really cool white and gold Nike Bodega logo, and then finally is an actual illustration of the shoe itself. It's super cool that they included this sort of stuff, and again, I don't know if this is going to come in the standard retail packaging. I wouldn't be surprised if this is maybe a special edition box that you only get from Bodega's website. I unfortunately have no idea. We'll just have to wait for the next couple days to find out. And then finally, the last thing in the box is this really cool bright red bandana, which comes in the same style as the outer sleeve on the box. Look at that. How sick is that? I kind of want to hang this on my office wall. Thank you so much for this. I can't believe this. I can't get over it. This is crazy. But now that we've taken a look at the box, let's take an in-depth look at the sneaker itself. So the concept behind this sneaker sneaker is that this shoe is supposed to be timeless and become a legend. Essentially, the shoe is inspired by timeless Americana, like baseball gloves and riding saddles, and it's the kind of thing that you wear for years and years and you never get rid of. It sort of transcends trends, and it's something that you pass down from generation to generation. Now, whether you can actually do that with this shoe, I don't know. I mean, look at some of the Nike sneakers from the early 2000s and the 1990s. Their midsoles are all kind of cracking and the shoes are sort of falling apart. So I don't know if this shoe could survive a whole generation, but the idea is cool, the concept is cool, and the way the shoe came together is just insane. Over the last year, I've reviewed a lot of different Bodega collaborations, and every single one of their collaborations are extremely well thought out and just look incredible. And I don't want to say that this one's the pinnacle, because some of those New Balance Bodega collaborations are just on another level, but I do want to say that this definitely is up there with them. Like, this ties those sneakers. And I've said it time and time again, every Bodega sneaker collaboration is a banger. I've not seen one bad Bodega collab. And with the Nike Dunk High Legends, this Boston-based boutique just keeps the hits coming. But jumping into the actual materials of the sneaker itself, around the mudguard of the shoe, you've got this dark brown suede. Now, I've got to say that this suede material feels really nice and really premium to the touch. And a little detail that I didn't notice until I had the shoe in hand is that there's actually this sort of triple stitching detail running along the edge of the panel itself, which kind of adds another dimension to it. I'm not sure if that detail is mimicking some sort of old school style, but I'm here for it and I think it looks dope. In the center of the toe, you've got this light cream colored tumbled leather, which seems to be about the same quality leather that's on something like the Jordan 1 Royals. As you move farther back in the shoe, around the edges of the tongue, you've got another tumbled leather panel. This time it's sort of a chocolate brown, and then weaving through that leather panel, you've got these flat black wax laces. Now, if you're not a fan of these black wax laces, Bodega and Nike do actually give you two other lace options. The first is a standard set of just black flat laces, and the second are these really thin leather laces. Now, these leather laces are basically the same exact size as these leather strips that are sort of tied together on the side of the shoe. It would give the shoe a little bit more of a cohesive look. If you're into that, I personally don't love leather laces, so I'm just gonna stick with these black wax laces, but you can switch them out if you want. Then underneath the laces, you've got this black tongue in tumbled leather. Then at the top of the tongue, you've got one of my favorite details on the entire shoe, and that's this semi-translucent tortoise shell tag, which actually comes in sort of a plasticky feeling rubber. On the front side of the tag, you've got the Nike logo and Bodega logo sort of pressed into it in red, and then on the back side of the tag, you've got the Bodega logo in gold. There's just something about Nike Dunk collaborations that makes the people who are collaborating on those shoes want to do something crazy and go the extra mile, and that's why I love Nike Dunk collabs, because they always look insane. And this is one of those details where it's kind of unnecessary. They could have gone with a standard Nike tag, but they decided to go for a completely new kind of tag and make it really stand out, even though it's such a small detail. I love it, man. I think it looks absolutely incredible. On the back side of the tongue, you've got this really nice bright red satin material, and if you look a little bit lower on the back side of the tongue, you'll notice that there's actually a stash pocket, and just above the stash pocket, you've got these words that say hidden in plain sight. Dude, the details on the shoe just like never end. It's like every time I look at the shoe, I find something else that's new that I've never seen before. Around the top of the ankle, you've got this really interesting leather stitching detail, which gives the shoe a very sort of cobbled together and really baseball glove look. You know, the more that I look at the shoe, the more that this sneaker reminds me of the Box Troll Roshis, which were one of those shoes that I always wanted but could just never get. And I feel like if they didn't send me this, that would have been the same way with this shoe. Like, this is one of those sneakers that I would always want to have, but I would just never be able to afford the resale price or be able to grab a pair for retail. Obviously, that's not the only similarity between this shoe and that shoe, but they both sort of have a worn-in, timeless, cobbled-together aesthetic. The sock liner of the shoe comes in this really nice, smooth black leather, and it's also really nicely padded, so it feels really good against your ankles. And then, rounding off the inside of the shoe, you've got this really nice red insole with the Nike and Bodega logo printed on the heel in gold. The insole is also some pretty thick foam, so it does actually provide some nice cushion underfoot. As far as sizing and fit is concerned, I would say that the Bodega Nike Dunk High Legends fits pretty similar to every other pair of Nike Dunk Highs. For me, that's true to size, but for you, it might be something different. So if you have the chance to try on another pair of Nike Dunk Highs, which I realize might be difficult to do, make sure to do that to make sure you're grabbing the right size for you. One thing that I love about newer Nike Dunks, both high and low, is that the leather that they use on the toe is just so much softer than it used to be. Like, if you wear Dunks from like 5 to 10 years ago, they're so stiff and it just totally destroys your feet after wearing them for a couple hours. It's the worst. Like those Tiffany Dunk Highs that I've got back there and those Supreme Nike Dunk Lows, both those shoes are incredibly uncomfortable because of the very stiff leather. This shoe, thankfully, doesn't have that problem. The leather is super soft and overall the shoe is pretty comfortable. Continuing back on the lateral side or the outside of the sneaker, you've got this really nice brown hairy suede midfoot panel. The brown suede feels really nice to the touch and also has these two stitching details running running down the center of it. In the center of the midfoot panel, you get to one of the most eye-catching details on the entire sneaker, and that's this mini tortoiseshell Nike swoosh. That detail is so different, and in my opinion, it's one of the things that really makes the shoe. Little known fact, I actually worked at Sunglass Hut for like 2 years in college, and I just love tortoiseshell sunglasses. I don't know what it was about that style, maybe it's the classic look, and so seeing it on the side of this shoe, I'm just really into it. I also really like that this detail is glossy, so even if you don't catch the tortoiseshell detail right away, you definitely catch some like highlights coming off the lights around you. Then moving around to the medial side or inside of the sneaker, you find more of that brown hairy suede, except this time around, rather than having a Nike swoosh, you've actually got the Bodega logo debossed into the material. It's a super subtle hit and one that you might actually miss at first glance, but I'm so happy that they did it this way because it just looks so clean. Then continuing back in the shoe towards the heel, you've got this really nice chocolate brown leather panel, and just like the mudguard in the shoe, this leather panel also features a really interesting stitched pattern. Then you get to a detail which I'm sure you're wondering why I haven't mentioned yet, and that's these brown leather ties or straps or laces or whatever they are. These brown leather ties are found throughout the sneaker. In fact, we just saw them at the top of the ankle area, and they definitely give the shoe sort of a handmade look. Surprisingly, that's actually the detail that first drew me to the shoe. It's something that you really don't see much of on sneakers in general, and I think it gives the shoe such a cool and unique look. On the medial side of the shoe, things are a little bit simpler, and instead of having these big bulky ties towards the heel, you've got two simple leather X's. Also on the medial side, that leather panel towards the heel changes from a dark brown to a straight up black. I'm actually not sure which side of the shoe I like better. I think I like the color blocking better on the medial side, but I love some of the details on the lateral side. Around the top of the ankle, you've got some light cream suede, which of course also has a stitched detail, but this time around the stitching detail actually resembles something like wood grain. Then in the center of the heel, you've got this light brown suede pull tab, and just below that, you've got these leather ties that sort of look like they're holding the shoe together. Then moving down on the shoe, you get to this light cream or aged looking midsole, and then finally moving to the bottom of the sneaker, you've got this really interesting, semi-translucent, almost dark gum colored outsole. Now I know for some people this is a polarizing sneaker because it's definitely a little outlandish, it's definitely a little out there, but I think that's what makes this shoe so special and so interesting. I've always found this shoe to be really good looking, and for me, the reason that I love this shoe so much is because it reminds me of the golden age of Nike Dunks, and I think we're finally getting back to that. The Bodega Nike Dunk High Legends is one of those shoes that, whether you like it or not, is a shoe that everyone's going to remember because of how interesting it is. And let me tell you, you can't deny the fact that when you throw this shoe on feet, it looks crazy. I love the way this sneaker looks. Huge shout out once again to Nike and Bodega for sending out this pair of sneakers crazy early. I can't thank you guys enough for that. I love this sneaker. But now I would love to know your thoughts on the Bodega Nike Dunk High Legends and whether you're trying to grab a pair for yourself when they come out next week. But with that, we pretty much wrap up the video for today. Thank you so much for watching. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and I'll see you all in the next one. This shoe is so dope. I can't get over it.